Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyat Ravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Lavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are making our way through the 11th chapter, the Vishwaswarup of the Lord, the divine vision. And the deeper, the esoteric meaning of all these, the deeper teaching, is not that God, the self, Brahman, is separate from the world. God does not create the world at us and to us, but as us and through us. So before we move forward, I want to just quickly review the very classic exegesis of the Mahavakya Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. So normally I think I am the person and God is out there. God is Krishna or Ram or Jesus or whatever. And the way we understand this Mahavakya, we start with saying, oh, God knows I'm not God. I have a hard enough time just paying my bills. You know, how can I be infinite and immortal and unchanging and omniscient? Doesn't make sense. So we have to do what's called the lakshanam, the inferred or implied meaning. So we're going to take microcosm, you and me, and we're going to take macrocosm, the infinite. So you and I have a physical body called the Stula Sharira. The infinite has a physical body. It's called the Jagat, the creation. It's called Vishwa, the waking state world that we all experience. The phenomenal universe is, as it were, the body of God. And this is the deeper meaning of when the scripture says that he's got eyes everywhere and limbs everywhere and mouths everywhere, etc. Now, what we need to know about the Jagat is that it is ruled by the law of impermanence. 99% of all species that have ever existed on the planet are now extinct. And destruction is not bad. It's part of the way the Lord has made the phenomenal world. In other classes, we've been talking about the fact that our very bodies are stardust, literally. Billions of years ago, stars went supernova and were destroyed. And in that destruction, heavier elements other than just hydrogen and helium were created, moving through space, which eventually ends up as your body and my body. It's where it all came from. You and I have subtle bodies, a world of thought and feeling, and sense perception is in there. How is it that you see a dream? The body you run around in your dream is your subtle body, your sukshma sharira. The infinite has a subtle body. The technical term is Hiranyagarbha. Literally, it means the golden egg. It is the total mind, the sum total of the minds of all beings. And in this realm, we include what our scriptures talk about as these celestial beings and demons and things like that. These are all things that exist in the realm of mind. Thought atmospheres. God only knows what exists out there in other planets, other civilizations, perhaps. Who knows? Way beyond my pay grade. So we have microcosm, my subtle body, macrocosm, Hiranyagarbha. Mandukya will say Vishwa, waking state, Taijasa, dream state, or the total mind. You and I have a causal body, Karana Sharira, which is my own bundle of vasanas, which cause the waking state, cause the dream state. Why do I do what I do? Because I choose it. Well, why did I choose it? I wanted it. Why did I want it? Where does that come from? Those are the deep impressions left in the unconscious from the past. That's how my life is written. The infinite has a causal body, Prajna. We call it Ishvara, usually translated as the Lord. We could call it Brahma, the creator. Prajapati, has many names. But it's the total vasana. What was there at the beginning of the singularity that caused it to move into the inflation of the universe, that started the whole thing going? Ishvara. He who wishes, he who wills, Ichvi. These are the forms of you and me, my what we call upadis, my equipment. Body, mind, intellect, gross body, subtle body, causal body. Macrocosmically, the Jagat, the creation, the total mind, and Ishvara, the total vasana. But at the core of my being and your being is witnessing consciousness, Atma. And the ground of being in which the entire universe rises and falls is also consciousness. We call that Brahman. And the scriptures thunder, I am Atma, Brahma. This self in you is Brahman. So never forget that when Krishna talks about his infinite being, he's talking about the self in you and me. So this divine form that he's talking about is in the language of poetry, to talk about this macrocosmic Vishwa, this Jagat. You know why we call it the Jagat? Because it's always going Jagat, 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 always moving. And last time, Krishna talked about how all these armies are already slain by me. So this is not to send us into a depression. Everybody you've ever loved right now, I promise you they're going to die. No. What we're asked to do is cherish life, because it's so temporary. Now, listen very carefully. If my mind goes to the past and continues to review the past and grieve over the past and regret over the past, I'm missing now. That's all we have. It's real now. So that's the purpose of this teaching. It's not about freaking us out, because death comes to everything and everyone. Death itself is not a tragedy. My loss becomes the tragedy. And if I spend my time hanging on to past relationships, and it doesn't mean just somebody who's died, it can be an ex-partner, etc. What am I doing? I'm missing the brilliance, the joy, the immediacy of because I have news for you. The people in front of you today are also temporary. I missed the opportunity. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked with people who, I'm not talking to my mother. She was so mean. And then she dies. And then people feel terrible. When all they needed to do was reconcile. Make haste to clean up broken relationships. Because you never know. All right, what verse are we on tonight?
28.
28. Will you help us out, please?
I forget the tune of the short meter.
Dee 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 ba dee dee dee.
No, that's the long one.
No, that's the short one. Dee 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 dee.
I'll try.
Dee 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 dee. That's the long one.
Yatha nadinam bhavumbu.
That's right.
Yatha nadinam bahavum bhuvegaah samudramevabhimukha dravanti tatha tavami naralokavira vishanti vaktranyabhivijwalanti. Verily, as many torrents of rivers flow towards the ocean, so these heroes in the world of men enter your flaming mouths.
Yes. So Arjun has seen that all beings are moving towards death. True story. So way back in the mid 80s, I had an afternoon class, and it was specifically designed for gay men who had HIV/AIDS. This was before there was any real cure of any kind and very little treatment available. And other people came too. And there was one fellow, James, hairdresser, and we were having a discussion in the class. And one of the people who did not have AIDS said to him, James, what's it like to be dying? And he laughed and laughed and laughed. Good yogi. He said, we're all dying. We are all dying. Some sooner, some later. Some of us have an inkling when it's likely to be. For most of us, it's still a mystery. But it is an inevitability. Don't waste your time. This is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is your life. spend ourselves in love. That's the injunction. Live it to the fullest. Don't put the brakes on. Dive into it. Exhaust those vasanas. Any thoughts on this?
Don't die what?
Exhaust those vasanas, I said. Did you hear something else?
I heard the line before that. But never mind. You made the point.
Okay. Next verse.
Yatha pratiktam jwalanam patanga shanti nashaya samriddha vega tatheva nashaya vishanti loka tavapi vaktrani samriddha vega. As moths rush hurriedly into a blazing fire for their own destruction, so also these creatures hastily rush into your mouths of destruction.
Yes. So that's where we're all going. Just like, we see moths go to a lamp, but in the old-timey days, there was a fire. The moths do the same things and they'd get immolated. That's where you're headed. You're headed to the funeral pyre. You're headed to the grave. But this should not be a sad or depressing or scary thing. So again, back in the 80s, in 1986, my roommate, his name was Perry, had been kind of suffering from a depression. He lost his job, and he was overweight, and he didn't have a boyfriend, and, he just was glum. And then he got this AIDS diagnosis, and in those days, it was 2.5 years, 2 to 2.5 years, and you were dead. And he changed. He caught the meaning of what this section of Gita is about. He finally prepared the song recital he was always thinking he was going to give someday. He finally went on the cruise to Europe that he'd always wanted to do. He finally got that damn chair cover that's been sitting in the living room for, 8 years that needed to be recovered. He did all these things that he'd been postponing. Why? Because he knew this is it. And there was a magazine that interviewed him about a year or so later. And he said the most interesting thing. He said this immediacy of living life to the fullest was a result of his AIDS diagnosis. And if he had the choice of living an extra 20, 30 years and not learning this lesson, or learning this lesson and dying sooner, he would rather have learned that lesson. Because life woke up for him. He gave up regret for the past, resentment of others, living with this kind of low-grade depression and misery, which is all about not being present. No. And believe me, our lifespan, our 70 or 80 years or 90 years, it goes by so quickly. Cherish it, cherish it. Any thoughts? Next verse.
ललीयसे ग्रसमान समन्तात् लोकान् समग्रान् वदनैर्ज्वलन्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रम् वासस्तवोग्रा प्रतपन्ति विष्णो. Devouring all worlds on every side with your flaming mouths, you are licking in enjoyment your fierce rays filling the whole world. With radiance are burning, O Vishnu.
Yes, so he sees Krishna as Vishnu, the great sustainer, but also now as Rudra, the destroyer. Not only are all beings, all our friends and loved ones, going into Krishna's flaming mouth, but the earth will die, the sun will die, everything is, everything. Don't miss what is. It's precious. Any thoughts? Next one.
आख्यायि मे को भवानुग्ररूपो नमोऽस्तु ते देववर प्रसीद विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यं न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्. Tell me who you are, so fierce in form. Salutations to you, O God Supreme. Have mercy. I desire to know you, the original being. I know not indeed your purpose.
Yes. So, what is the purpose of God? Why are we here? What's going on? Is it a sound and fury signifying nothing? Is it all for naught? Why bother? Is there a direction? Is there a purpose? How do I find meaning in my life? Let's see what Krishna says.
Sri Bhagwan Uvacha Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravruddho lokan samahurtumiha pravrittah rite ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve yeva sthita pratyanikeshu yodhaah. The Blessed Lord said, I am the mighty world-destroying time, now engaged in destroying the worlds. Even without you, none of the warriors arrayed in hostile armies shall live.
Yes. So Krishna is all devouring time. So you and I, part of Krishna's plan, but as Swamiji used to say, Graveyards are filled with indispensable people. He used to say, your life and my life, it's like putting your finger in a bucket of water and pull your finger out and see what the water does. So, what is it that we're to do with this teaching? Live life to the fullest. Like I say, spend ourselves in love. But don't take ourselves so seriously. Krishna's in charge. He has rotated the wheel of time. Can we be content at the individual level just to play our part? The great scheme of God's plan. I was working with a guy this week, and he fessed up that he got this message from his father, and he really lived with it, that he was destined for greatness. And he's in his 40s, and he's got about 3 months sober. So his destiny to greatness has involved getting drunk and stoned and ruining his life and the lives of others. But he had this illusion in his mind that he could hang on. I'm destined for greatness. Whether you and I end up as celebrities, that's karmic. All we get in life is work. Why does someone out of the blue win the lottery? Someone else works very, very hard and has what appears to be an average life. It's funny, ego always wants us to be just a little bit better, a little bit more important than everybody else. Or the flip side, I'm just worse than everybody else. I have so many issues. Where ego can't seem to live comfortably is, I'm just an ordinary person. Now, you are special because you're unique. You can't be Bhavna, she's taken. Only be you. But our value, our meaning in life comes from living a life of service and of joy according to our swadharma, the given gifts and talents that we have. I can't tell you, back in the old timey days when I used to teach voice, I get these young people and I could kind of see what was going on. And I'd ask the question, do you want to be a celebrity or do you want to be a musician? We need to get clear on this. They're not the same thing. Some people are musicians who become celebrities. But the only people who are celebrities without doing anything are the Kardashians. That's not a life of a yogi. But if we give ourselves to the life that's in front of us, Have fun with it. If you're ambitious, go for it. Know that all we ever get in life is the work. Fruits. Krishna will say, I am the karma phala data. I am the giver of the gifts, the fruits of action. Oh, yeah. So what we want to do is engage in life. Work is the highest form of play. Play is the highest form of work. Have a good time. Enjoy it. But don't be attached. Because whatever it is that's in front of us, it will go. Cannot hang on to any of it. And if you're destined for greatness, that's the Lord's problem, not yours and mine. Any thoughts?
I have a longish question.
Please.
So the January has been one of my most stressful months ever since I got back from India, and I really want to kill someone at the end of the month, but I didn't, and metaphorically. But so I've been cranky pants all week last week and really questioning. So on one hand, my sadhana tells me to live in surrender, that this is a job that I got to show up for, and this is how my teachings teach me that there isn't really a lot of free will going on. Like you end up in a circumstance, acceptance, and then doing the best you can is the right way to move forward till your vasana calls you to shift. But I'm not able to find joy in this month where I'm doing corporate slavery, and yes, my vasana is binding, which is my ambition. And surrender and joy doesn't come easily.
No.
And I'm wondering, like, if I change, then I'm no longer serving.
Well, you're not serving that, but you may be serving someplace else. But what I would recommend that you do is for the next 30 days in the morning, pray Father Michael Judge's prayer. God, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say and keep me out of your way.
Yeah, I think it's in these situations where the me is rising pretty strong and making a lot of noise. And
this is what I want, and this is, And when you're in your corporate situation, is there a piece of you that's acting out of fear?
Yeah, definitely. The fear of lack of abundance.
Yeah. Krishna has said no one is more fearful than a wealthy person. A person without fear is the interior sannyasi. I told you the story about the time when Swamiji's guru, Swami Tapovanam, was set upon by robbers in the Himalayas. Yes? No?
No.
Oh, so he owned a kurta and a begging bowl. Walking through the Himalayas, and these robbers come up to him. They give us all your money. I go, Sannyasi, I don't have any money. Do you guys have any food? They sat down together. Gave them satsang. Blessed them. And I'm not saying that making money isn't fun for some people. But if we do it out of fear, another true story. So there was a fellow I was working with in San Diego, and he had this tension. There was a part of him that just was brilliant. He was a biological scientist and stuff like that. And big piece of him that liked the fast life and drugs and girls and prestige and big income. And he got involved with this company, and he was dancing in his yoga, and he could see that, it was adharmic for him. He said, well, I just want to wait till I get some financial security and then I'll quit. And I said to him, X, I won't mention his name, you own 5 houses. When do you think the fear of financial insecurity is going to go? And I tell you, no amount of zeros will get rid of the fear. The way to get rid of the fear is to trust God. Now, do you have a place to sleep tonight? Yes?
Yes.
Do you have food?
Mm-hmm.
Any body parts falling off?
Not yet.
Yeah. So God's done her job. You've been taken care of. Are you vain enough to think that you've done it? Did I make sense?
Yeah, but I often wonder if, our vasanas come from the original vasana, which is Ishvara. Then this system is sort of designed to fail. Like, why does every human have to deal with ego, hardship, vasana, aversion, craving, and then rise to equanimity?
Because that's how the Lord's Maya works. If people were not in spiritual ignorance, beings were not in spiritual ignorance, the universe would grind to a halt. But you and I can gain some freedom. And Krishna has said, even a little of this knowledge frees us from great fear. If you do nothing else, but instead of acting from this rational little limited ego, this is what I've got to do in order to maximize this and get that and do all that, and I have to do all this stuff that I hate because I've lost sight of the fact that I'm going to die. Do you want to live in misery and then die? Knock yourself out if you want it.
No, but that's precisely the point. I don't.
Okay.
But then I seem I feel very interested, and not just me, it's the condition of our times,
the world.
I guess.
Of course it is. So what does yoga say? First of all, set aside ego-driven desires and actions. Make it about service. Let's go back to chapters 3, 4, and 5 of Gita. This is for all of us. Act. You will not gain freedom by quitting your job and go living in a cave. How should you act? According to your swadharma. But for you, I translate that as like the way Joseph Campbell used to frame it. Follow your bliss. Do you enjoy doing certain things in the corporate world? Do you get satisfaction out of the achievements?
Clearly not in January.
But in other times, have you?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing wrong with doing that. But then what do? Do it in the yajna spirit. It's not about you. It's about service. Swamiji would thunder, serve the society. There he was, head of the Chinmaya mission, and someone asked him, Swamiji, what's your title in the Chinmaya mission? He thought for a minute and he said, Mukhya Sevak, head servant. Not mucky muck, worship my feet, give me your money. He was to serve. We renounce our attachment to the fruits of action. December, I had an intuition. I ought to sell my Tesla stock. It's doing really well. Then I had another thought. No, you reorganize, reevaluate, rebalance your portfolio in January. Stay on plan. Guess what happened with the Tesla stock? Follow the fruits of action. And then the last one, our renunciation of our identification with the sense of agency. But the first thing, start with the notion, God, where do you want me? How can I serve you and your holy people? And if it doesn't feel right anymore, okay, tell me where you want me to go. Right out of my own life. So my longtime boss, Father Mark, left St. Augustine where I was working. Another priest came. He was unethical. And I had a real problem working for him. But I said, okay, I'm going to give it a year. See what happens. He didn't change. He wasn't going to change. I said, okay, is it time for me to leave? I got the sense, okay. I did it when I got my Social Security. And then if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be teaching 5 classes a week. But I had to come to a point, no, this wasn't working for me anymore. I had friends who said, Jim, keep your head down, silo. Can't do that. I'm not that kind of a person. But we can talk more about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Has any of this been useful at all?
Yes, very timely, much needed reminders. Thank you. It's all there in chapters 3, 4, and 5.
They're so important. And we all want to think, oh, I'm going to just skip to the end and read Mandukya. Well, we, start at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
Jim, I have a follow-up question from what Deepa asked. So if we were not in spiritual ignorance, why would the universe come to a halt? Wouldn't it be better for the universe if people were more enlightened?
Well, then if everybody and everything were enlightened, there would be no ego-prompted desire, so nothing would get done. But we don't need to worry about what would happen if everyone were enlightened, because believe me, it isn't going to happen.
That's true as well. Okay,
it's
got it.
Very much a hypothetical question.
Okay.
How are we doing on time? Oh, we got more. Okay. So do you guys have any questions about any of these ideas? No. So you, with your business, do you enjoy what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it going to be successful or not?
I don't know.
Yeah. But you're having a good time trying, aren't you?
I'm having fun.
Yeah. That's the point. That's the point. How do I know if I'm acting according to God's will? Knowledge of God's will and acting with it gives us peace. There's a live wire, a current of rightness in us. When we're riding the horse in the direction it's going, when we're on current with our lives, feels right. And again, back to when I was a professional musician, I could tell you who was going to be successful. Wasn't the ones with the most beautiful voice. It was the ones who liked to practice. It's hard work being a professional musician. You have to love practice. If you're not loving it, you won't talk. All right, next verse.
Jim, I have a question.
Please, who's this?
This is Niranjan.
Oh, Hari Om. Okay.
Hey, so you said two things. The first thing is that you should live your life to the fullest, and the second one is that you should do your dharma um with like a form of sacrifice without it really meaning anything to you.
I did
So
not say that.
like that is what I thought you said.
Okay.
Um,
Let me see if I can be clearer. So what Gita suggests that we do is we live according to our swadharma. That is very different than what the psychologists call superego. You should do this. This is what my parents said. This is what my culture says. This is what my teachers say. What excites you? What turns you on? Better one's own dharma, however devoid of merit, than the dharma of another, no matter how meritorious. The dharma of another is fraught with fear, Krishna says. Now, what does the yajna spirit do? I don't focus on what I'm going to get out of it, but what I can give into life. Let me see if I can give you again a real live example. I used to be afflicted by performance anxiety when I was a professional singer. And it was shown to me that what that means is I'm focused on how am I doing? What do they think of me? That's egoism. Where I needed to be focused was on the music and endeavoring to communicate that to others. So this is the yajna spirit, to sanctify everything. Did that make it a bit clearer?
yeah, the second part did. I just have a question about the first part. Uh, so when you said you should do what is your swadharma, which is what you feel like doing, is that what you mean?
What we
Uh,
have in us, there's levels. There's the indulgent part of the mind. I call it my inner 2-year-old. I want to have ice cream. I don't want to eat my vegetables. That is not the doorway to our Swadharma. We first of all have to let go of that stuff. But in our hearts, at a very deep level, there's a sense of rightness. You know when you're in the right place, doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who go into a profession, for example, just because it'll make a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
are probably never going to be happy at it, and they probably won't be very good at it.
Hmm.
Or what was that movie, the Big Short or the Great Short?
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
The Big Short.
The Big Short. So all these people who were involved in Wall Street and stuff like that, and they know they're selling junk, mortgages. And it was all about how much money can I make? And I'm not going to worry about swindling other people. I tell you, that kind of activity in the world is spiritually corrosive. So we work on for example, in the Raja Yoga tradition, we have the yamas and niyamas. Satyam, usually translated as truthfulness, but it means also integrity. Ahimsa, non-injury, living a life where you're not a jerk. So the person who's climbing the corporate ladder and taking no prisoner and stomping on other people up the corporate ladder, that's probably going to be corrosive spiritually. That's the antithesis of the yajna spirit. If, on the other hand, you're a manager and you understand you are the servant leader, you do not manage by intimidation and fear. Your job is to surround yourself with brilliant, talented people and get the very best out of them, that they may be successful. Very different viewpoint of leadership and management. They teach this stuff. And Gita was talking about it 5,000 years ago. Very practical. Is this making it a little bit clearer?
Yes, the second question is now pretty clear. I have a question about the first one, and I think you answered it in a few ways by giving some examples. But can you define what does live life to your fullest mean?
So the person who does not act in the world because of fear, because of despondency, because of discouragement, who puts the brakes on, who presses down their creative juices,
Mm.
and lives life in a humdrum way. There's a joke. Do you know how a government worker is like a broken rifle? It won't work and you can't fire it. Is that how we're living our life? If I got a job where I have security and I don't have to work very hard and I can go home early and just get loaded, watch Netflix. Is that your life? Are you shut down? That's tamas. That's not a life worth living. All right. We can talk more about this stuff if you wish.
No, this is all clear to me now. Thanks, Lord.
All right. Good questions. Swamiji used to say, I don't want any stupid questions. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask. All right. Next verse.
2 long shlokas together.
Okay.
Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhukshvaracham samriddham mayevaite nihata purvameva nimittamatram bhava savyasachin dronam cha bhishmam cha jayatratam cha karna tathanyan napi yodhaviran maya hatamstvam jahima vyatishta yudhyasva sirane sapatnan. Therefore stand up and obtain fame, conquer the enemies, and enjoy the flourishing kingdom. Verily by myself they have already been slain. Be you a mere instrument, O left-handed archer. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and other brave warriors, those have already been slain by me. You do kill, be not distressed with fear, fight, and you shall conquer your enemies in battle.
So, notice Krishna has not told Arjuna to go away to the forest and wear orange robes. Why? Because Arjuna is a Kshatriya. There is nothing more pleasurable, more noble for Kshatriya than a righteous war and winning it. And of course, this is an allegory. It's a metaphor for your life and my life. Swamiji used to say the Bhagwad Gita is the story of the man of knowledge downtown. That's where the battle is. It's in the corporate sphere. It's exactly what you're going through, Deepa. There's your Kurukshetra. So let's parse what Krishna says to him. So read the first idea.
Therefore stand up and obtain fame.
Yes. So what he likes to do is win. Knock yourself out. So, for example, if you enjoy making money, go for it. It's okay. Just be clear about it. Other people, that's not their objective. There's nothing wrong with it. I have a very dear friend, my friend Susie, my friend Susie. Her brother is a billionaire. Made literally billions of dollars as a hedge fund manager. Then he retired because he's very rich. Sold his business. Then he got bored. So he's back playing the stock market again. He's making another fortune. He doesn't need the money. He just has fun doing it.
Can you put me in touch with him?
Seriously?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
If he'll adopt me or something.
No, very nice fellow and incredibly generous. He's president of Juilliard. Does a lot of charity work. And he's richer than Donald Trump.
Wow.
But anyway, the whole point is he enjoys it. Warren Buffett's the same way. He just likes the game. But it's not about fear. It's not about fear. Can you feel the difference? So I'm not saying not to be successful. I'm not even saying not make a lot of money. If that's your Swadharma. Next idea that Krishna has.
Conquer the enemies
Yes.
and enjoy the flourishing kingdom.
Yeah. So the paradox is, if we act in the world according to our Swadharma, in the yajna spirit, renouncing our attachment to the fruits of action and our identification with the sense of agency, we have the best chance of being successful in life. That's the paradox. If, on the other hand, I'm going to look for a job where I don't have to work and they can't fire me. If you were managing a person like that, would you want to promote them? What kind of product are they likely to put out? Oh, that crushes life. And we'll use Vinayak as an example. If you love what you're doing and it's creative, you may create something that's really new and of value to the society. Isn't that your hope?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Krishna says this is how society moves forward. This is the deepest part of the yajna spirit. Next idea.
Verily, by myself, they have already been slain.
So here he is riffing on this idea, this abandonment of the personal sense of agency. There's two ways we can look at it. Earlier, he said guna and karma, the qualities of mind and the force of the past. Here he's saying, actually, it is the Lord himself who's doing the doing. Surrender. Success and the failure of life is Ishvara. Give it to him. Who's to say what's going to happen? But at least you're going to have fun trying. Another true story. So I had a student for a while who was working in customs, custom agent. And he'd always thought he would want to be a lawyer. And he said, I can just see myself in a three-piece suit in an office on Nob Hill, smoking my pipe and stuff like that. So I said, well, go for it. So he went to law school. And what he found is that law is a whole lot of reading and a whole lot of writing. It isn't Perry Mason. And he found that he had fooled himself. He wanted to be a lawyer. He didn't want to do the law.
Mm-hmm.
You catching the distinction there? So he left it. But you never find that out if you don't try. Next idea.
Be you a mere instrument, O left-handed archer.
Yes. So we want to again see this body, mind, intellect as an instrument. of the infinite. Back to Father Michael Judge's prayer that I suggested. God, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say. And keep me, my ego, out of your way. The Master Jesus said, I of myself do no thing. It is the Father within that doeth the work. But the opposite idea that Saint Teresa of Avila said, Christ has no hands on earth but yours. Ishvara can't do his will without you. He has no other hands, no other speech than you. Next idea.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and other brave warriors, those have already been slain by me.
Yes. So in the end, prarabdha karma, it's all been written. We are, as it were, acting our part in the divine play. But we're not writing the script. Whether it's a tragedy or a comedy, whether you have the starring role or a bit part, it's all up to the divine playwright. Take it easy. Enjoy the ride. Have fun. Don't take it quite so seriously. All right, we'll stop here. Did I get all the pieces?
No, just there's a couple more.
Okay.
He says, you do kill, but be not distressed with fear. Fight and you shall conquer your enemies in battle.
Yeah, so don't be distressed about what happens. Act. The killing here means actions that we do. Some are pleasurable, some are distasteful, but we do what's in front of us. Okay, it's 8:00. We have to quit here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari